this moment, it doesn't matter who you voted for, how much money you make, or where you were born. In this moment, the only thing that matters is football.
This moment is made possible by moments like this. This, and this. Together, we're working to make football better, so we can all enjoy more moments like this.
In this moment, it doesn't matter where you live, what you drive, or how many followers you have. In this moment, the only thing that matters is football.
And it's good.
Well, after a break for Labor Day, we're back at the GC and over at Ricardo Silva. The prep is in full swing for New Hampshire. Saturday, a great chance to get back on track. Another matchup here in Miami as a trip to La Tech looms. Hey, positive vibes only. There's 10 games still to play. The Panthers focused on going 1-0 this week against the Wildcats of New Hampshire. Pleasure to have you alongside us in the Graham Center, as always, on a Monday morning alongside head coach Butch Davis. I'm AJ Ricketts. All right, so tough start to the season, 0-2 this past weekend against Western Kentucky. We'll talk about that a little bit here, but compare Tulane to Western Kentucky. You noted, Coach, in the post-game press conference, you were a little bit more encouraged by the effort and passion out of the guys as compared to week one.
Well, I thought that we had a good week of practice, AJ, and I think that that's where it always starts. If you don't practice well, you're never going to play good, and I thought our practice and preparation was really good. Sure. Guys watched a lot more film. The effort was better. The energy level was better, and I thought that the performance in some respects was certainly better than it was against Tulane. When you break it down on an individual basis, you need your best players to step up, to lead. Sage Lewis had an outstanding game, and he played extremely well. Stanley Thomas, who I think is one of the best corners in the league, he came through this week, bounced back from the week before, had 4 tackles, and you go, well, as a corner, that's not much, but he did a great job at setting the edge on a lot of their jet sweeps and the perimeter type of run plays, so he played good. The run game, we held them under 100 yards in the running game, and you knew coming into the game that they were going to try to focus and try to run the football after what Tulane was able to accomplish. So that part of it was really good. The thing that's got to change is our offense has got to get back on track and our ability to have success. It doesn't have to be great plays, but on first and second down, AJ, we've got to stay on track. It's got to be second and 6, 7, and 8. Third down and 2, 3, 4, and 5, and make it put it in situations where third down situations, you've got a chance to have a 50% third down conversion, as opposed to we go into the game and we ended up 2 out of 15, and it's almost impossible to keep drives alive when you're not having success on third down.
You referenced those third down numbers. Last season the Panthers 47% on third downs. That was tops in Conference USA, one of the best marks in the country. Again, third and longs makes it much more difficult. 2 for 15 this past weekend. All right, one of the big storylines as this game progressed, obviously the absence of James Morgan after getting nicked up in the second quarter. So Kalen Wiggins comes in as we take a look at his tape. Was able to use his legs somewhat effectively. He actually had 7 runs of 5 yards or more, including a 14-yard game. His rushing totals at the end of the game lower, of course, because of sacks and fumbles, but was able to use his legs. His final throwing totals 2 for 6 for 41. James 3 for 11 for 25 yards. How did you assess Kalen's performance coming in and running his package?
Yeah, you know what, AJ? I mean, I think everybody, I think Rich Skrosky, our offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and myself, I think we were actually pleased with the kid that had never played in a football game to come in, and the weight is on you. I mean, now you need your performance, and to see him on the sideline, AJ, probably was the best thing. Was the game was not over his head. He was not intimidated. He wasn't like a deer in the headlight. I mean, he went out there, executed the very best that he could. You said he brought a little bit of energy with his legs as far as, making them play honest on gun run reads and those kinds of things, and now we just got to get him comfortable and confident in the passing game. He made one really, really good throw, a 40-yard completion. He had a couple of other that should have been completed that unfortunately we didn't catch the ball. If you'd had those could have been some big explosive plays. But we have a lot of confidence that he'll be healthy, he'll be ready to go, and we'll see how he plays this week.
Referring to James Morgan.
Yeah, well, no, and talking about Kalen, I mean,
Kalen, right.
Just about the fact that now instead of just getting 20% of the preparation reps, now he's going to get the entire week, which will dramatically help his confidence and ready to go and play.
Kalen came in and was effective, certainly at times, and James coming in on that last drive, a gutsy. We've always known he's a kid that would play tough, and he came in and threw a strike.
Yeah, he really did. He came in and he hadn't even really hardly warmed up much on the sidelines, but he wanted to come in for those last two throws. The first one was not very good throw, but the second one, the last play, I mean, that's a great opportunity to win the game. You'd love to go to the locker room, not have played as well as you'd like to play, but get a win 21-20, and he gave us that opportunity.
I want to talk about the defense for a moment. Rashard James, that interception return, nearly the longest in FIU history. Marshall McDuffie went for 82 against FAU back in 05. There's some trivia for you. But 80 yards on the return, an electric play that kind of sparked the team a little bit. Dorian Hall did a great job to read a play from Duncan down the field. So your assessment of this play in the pass defense?
Well, it's a perfect play because you get to the sidelines, and one of the things that you see is you see Sage Lewis. He blocked initially. Now he gets all the way down. He got 2 blocks on an interception, and that just tells you the passion that he gets involved in it. And he gives Dames a chance to cut back right here where he blocks the last guy that's got a chance to maybe push him out of bounds. So great job by him.
5 key blocks on that return. That's almost as fun to watch as Dave's tiptoeing down the sideline. Duncan ended up 19 for 33 for 241 yards with those 2 picks, including one of them here from Dorian Hall. Gage Walker on the ground got to 103 yards, Coach, but it took him 27 carries. He was at 3.7 yards per carry. How did you gauge the difference between Tulane and Western Kentucky with your run team plugging those gaps?
Well, I thought we were much better as far as not only just at the gap at the point of attack, but guys getting off their blocks and becoming swarm gang tackling. When you start getting 2 and 3 guys, it makes the pile go backwards instead of forwards. And so instead of a 3-yard gain, now it's a 2-yard gain. They get knocked back. And I just like the way that our defensive kids, they tried to swarm the football. They did everything they could. We got 2 interceptions. And this is one of the first times that I think I've ever been around a team where you win the turnover war and you don't win the game. Usually you win the turnover war, you've got a great chance to do that. But, there's some things to continue to get better on the defensive side of it, and now we just got to go to work on the offensive side. One thing we haven't even talked about, AJ, and is Tommy Heatherly, the punter. I mean, that was something. I mean, here's a young man who comes in from a junior college, his first game on the road at Tulane, and I'm not going to say that the game was too big for him, but he didn't have a good performance. And this is what you love about your athletes is like he said, Coach, I guarantee you next week, he said, I will be ready to kick. And he came out this past weekend and unbelievable. I think he had 4 kicks over 50 yards, and so flipped the field. And the part of it that was really good that went along with that, look how well that guys like Stanley Thomas, Josh Turner, Devontae Price, guys that were covering those punts. I mean, it was a -6 returns on all of those punts for the entire night. Great job of coverage.
Yeah, he had a long of 53. He averaged 45 yards per punt. And I tell you what, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me it doesn't matter where you punt. If you average 40-plus yards per punt, you can kick the football. And we knew he had that ability, and it just didn't see it against Tulane, but we saw it Saturday.
And the good thing, too, a lot of times a lot of kids you see, and they'll kick a 43, 44-yard punt, but it's only in the air like 3.8 seconds. The hang time, his hang time, he had a couple of them that was nearly 5 seconds. So if you can put the ball 45 to 50 yards and it's a 5-second hang time, you're going to force a lot of fair catches, or you're going to give your coverage team a great opportunity to go down and make a tackle for no gain.
All right, looking forward to next week. Certainly starting 0-2, a tough start to the season. But hey, the last time Butch Davis started 0-2, 2010, his team up in Chapel Hill won 6 of their last 7, and Casey Barth kicked it through the uprights in the bowl game for a pretty fun victory against Tennessee. Long way to go, 10 games. The next one, New Hampshire, coming up next week. All right, before we go to break, this presentation of Panther Talk Live is brought to you by Florida Lumber. For nearly 50 years, Florida Lumber has been servicing homeowners, contractors, and handymen. Visit their showroom at floridalumber.com today. Back on Panther Talk Live with Butch Davis after this.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have set new standards of success. Our history includes those who are beyond competitors on the field, beyond champions in the classroom, and beyond heroes in their communities. We call them Hall of Famers. The Conference USA Hall of Fame class of 2019. Their legacies live on. To find out more about the inaugural class, visit conferenceusa.com.
This is the CUSA way. Watch us be competitive, unique, strong, and athletic. We're driven. We're passionate. We're champions. This is the CUSA way.
Go out there and take what you want. We'll family on 3, 1, 2, 3, family.
Now when we fumble the football, Sage Lewis jumps on top of it. It's FIU football.
Maxwell looking deep.
In this moment, it doesn't matter who you voted for, how much money you make, or where you were born. In this moment, the only thing that matters is football.
Send it into overtime.
In this moment, it doesn't matter where you live, what you drive, or how many followers you have. In this moment, the only thing that matters is football.
And it's good.
All right, New Hampshire coming up this week. Our thoughts are certainly with Sean McDonald, the head coach of New Hampshire since 1999. Had a leave of absence announced at the end of August. Two-time Eddie Robinson Award winner for the top coach in FCS play. He's had a lot of success at New Hampshire, taking them to the FCS playoffs year after year. So certainly our thoughts are with Sean McDonald, who took a leave of absence for health reasons at the end of August. All right, let's talk about New Hampshire. The Wildcats, as noted there, a very successful FCS program. They're in the playoffs year in and year out. They've defeated FBS teams before, so got to be sharp this week. They're coming off a tough loss, 13-10 to Holy Cross. We'll show the tape of that. They were in position to win. And they had some special teams miscues, a fumble inside their own 5 as they were trying to run out the clock. So got to stay sharp this week.
No doubt about it, AJ. And one of the things, when you take a look at, you can see Coach McDonald's impact on that football team. Their techniques and fundamentals are outstanding in all 3 phases. Their kids, they really, really do what you're supposed to do. They're in the right place in the right time. Obviously, they had over 100 yards rushing with the running back Carlos Williamson, and the quarterbacks, they had 2 interceptions. I mean, you throw 2 turnovers on interceptions, you fumble inside. I mean, that just breaks your heart, you know, from that standpoint, because they truly, really played well enough that they should have won the game, and I'm sure they're very upset, and they're going to be like us. They're going to be wanting to bounce back.
Certainly, you know, there's fan frustration, but it doesn't compare to, you know, what you see in that locker room after a game. So, as a coach in this situation, what are you trying to emphasize to the guys? How do you keep them ready to go to get that first
Yeah,
win, get
absolutely.
this thing rolling.
You know what, AJ? On Friday night before the game, I talked to the players and I told them one of the things that's the most critical thing about any football team. You never know when a play is going to present itself during the course of the game that could completely change the outcome.
Yeah.
You go back in the past of Olin Cushing making that interception in the end zone at the drive at the end. If he doesn't make that play, we may lose that game. And there's several opportunities like that our kids have learned. And so in the game this past Saturday, there were many opportunities. There was as many as 11 that if you just make that play, it could have completely changed the outcome of the game. So kids have got to take the ownership and the responsibility. Be prepared, be ready, play hard, give great effort, and when a play is there to be made, just make the play because you've done it before. You've done it in practice. You've done it in games. Don't let your confidence go down. So we just got to bounce back from that standpoint, have great confidence, great preparation, and play good on Saturday.
That's a great point. It wasn't just the fumble at the 2 that there were 10 plays in your mind, as you said, that could have altered the course of that game.
No doubt.
It doesn't just happen in the fourth quarter, no doubt about that. Well, Butch, appreciate the time as always.
Thank you, AJ.
Thank you very much.
Good to be
Looking
with you.
forward to New Hampshire this week. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Facebook Live, Panther Talk Live, our second edition. New Hampshire this weekend, Ricardo Silva Stadium, 7:90 a.m. the ticket at ESPN+. All right, pause up, fam. We'll see you next time.